first off, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Dan, you can go first.
Yeah, my name's Dan O'Brien. I write all the guitars, play all that kind of stuff for the band Velocity Clock. I'm one of the chief songwriters at the moment. I write most things with Nick here. I have a multitude of instruments around me. I have a really cool music room that I write all the stuff in, with pianos, harps, cellos, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, this is my creative nest. I make everything here. So plus I have a bar in the same room, so it's pretty cool.
Dan plays himself down now. He's a very modest one. Dan's a proper multi-instrumentalist, really. That room he's in is an amazing little treasure trove of the weirdest instruments you could ever possibly imagine, including a cigar box guitar. It's a mad little room, which it would be great to visit you sometime soon in it again for out of this lockdown. I'm Nick. I'm the singer for Velocity Clock, and work with Dan an awful lot, or at least we try to, as much as we possibly can, writing the songs. And I write all the lyrics, and Dan basically writes all the music. And it's a little partnership we got going earlier this year, 2 days before the Irish lockdown was announced. So we had great plans. We were gonna play live. We were gonna hit the gig scene once we had a few songs recorded, and we met once, and then bang, it was straight into lockdown, and we didn't meet again for a couple of months. So we were passing back and forwards all of the ideas, and eventually, after a few months, things were eased. We managed to get to meet. We played these ideas that had been in our head and bounced back forwards on emails. We played them for the first time in a rehearsal room, and I don't know, it just felt right, didn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it was very good. I did like it a lot. We had to get, like, Nick has played with our bassist before in a kind of previous setup with the band. So when I came in, I brought in a new drummer as well, who I've known since actually I went to college with the guy. So I've known him a long time, and he's very good, and he's been in bands and gigging since he was like 12. You know, one of these people, and he's really sound guy, really cool to get along with, and very talented guy as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, I have to say. Like over the years, I've been in many bands, and there was always something that kind of came up. Like, for the most part, it was people that weren't on the same wavelength. You know, you're trying to get something kind of going with someone. Like, for example, the who I was playing with before this band was a vocalist. It was just me and the vocalist, who I thought sounded brilliant, really good vocalist. But we weren't gelling. It was really hard to kind of get things moving and whatnot. So it really depends, I think, on how people's personalities clash or get along with them. So I think with this band, we actually get along real well, and everything's been going really well. Like, and songwriting has been kind of pretty smooth as well after that. So happy days.
Fabulous. So you mentioned briefly then, but there's two other members of Velocity Clock?
Yeah. So there's our bass player, Zacharias, who is an elusive Finnish bass player who I played with in a previous band before. Myself and him joined forces with Dan and Brian on drums. And there's Brian as well. Dan knows Brian best. I'll let you, he's kind of already been introduced, but Brian Stevens is our drummer, and he's a great drummer. He's in another band as well, the Barefoot Magicians, who are a brilliant band, real funk band, very, very cool.
Okie dokie. I'll make sure to look them up. So I suppose, well, you've explained how it formed and stuff, but where did the name come from?
Will I take this one, Dan?
Yeah, you go for that one.
Well, I mean, it's probably the hardest thing we've had to do. Pick a name. It's crazy hard. I mean, I thought it would be, 20 minutes together, jot a few things down and get the name. But this thing I mean, it's probably the only time where we've felt a bit of tension between the members. It's just so hard to pick a name. Every name's taken, everything like that. But the name itself, Velocity Clock, it's kind of a reference to a passage in time and how quickly time passes. And it seemed appropriate, you know, time is ticking by every second and it seems to be going really, really quickly. And, you know, we're in a hurry ourselves. So we want to do things, we want to make it happen. It seemed to fit. It seemed to fit the bill.
Yeah, I like it. I like the name. I'll put it down to like me choosing names for my baby. You're always going to be known for that name. It's a hard one to
Yeah. I think choosing a name for your child is probably a little bit more important, but yeah.
No.
And yeah, I mean, we had a list like 300 names long, and you know, you whittle it down, you think about it, and this one stood out, and it does somewhat represent our ambition, style, our pace that we like to go at, and yeah, it just fits. It just feels right.
Right. And then your style of music. For the viewers that haven't heard you, how would you describe it to make them go listen to you?
Well, Dan, as main songwriter, you've got to take that one, I think.
Yeah, so I guess like what it would be like kind of melodic rock, I guess you'd say. So like one of the ideas that that I've always had since I started playing was like I kind of got the impression that like rock was sort of teetering off, you know, it was kind of to a certain extent dying. And like I grew up listening to, you know, like my sister was really into like all the rock and metal when I was growing up, so I got listening to that. I remember like one of the first things I remember her blaring out of her room were like Skid Row and things like that, and she had all the posters in her room, all that kind of stuff, and I got really into all that kind of music, and then Metallica was a huge thing for me. I got massively into them, and like one of my favorite bands would be like maybe Aerosmith as well, and it's kind of quite vast, I guess. Like there's also completely different, like I grew up listening to some classical music as well. When I was doing music in school, I really liked some of the classical stuff that we were studying. So there's a kind of good range of things, but I would say like I like to stick to the kind of rock side of things most often. Like for when we were writing our first 2 songs together as a band, they were very kind of melodic rock. And I nearly wanted to change things, and like we've an upcoming single that's just rock, you know, it's just all distortion and heavy and fast, and it's just a lot of fun to play, that kind of stuff. So we're definitely very much on the rock side of things.
Cool. And are there any messages behind your songs?
Well, well, everything I see, I rarely write vocals or anything like that. That's the problem. So everything. Usually what I write has some sort of name that's just happened to be whatever was happening that day. Like, so, and it means nothing to do, like it won't be called that after, you know, Nick puts lyrics and vocals to it and things. So things, they change basically over time. So for example, like one of the really fast and the one I was just talking about song there, I just called it Upbeat Sunday because it's upbeat and I wrote it on a Sunday, so I just named it that. But as soon as vocals come in, you know, the songs can completely change, like meaning wise and direction wise and even structure wise. They usually change.
Yeah, and then so I write most of the lyrics, and it's a difficult job because you've got to then convince Dan that the song is not really called Upbeat Sunday anymore. Or one of my favorites was Dan had been writing this song for, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. Called it Finally. It was a reference to how long and frustrating it had been for you to write it. Which is A Night in Dreams, which is the one we have out at the moment playing on the radio stations at the moment. it has nothing to do with just finally finishing anything. So my job, first of all, is to convince the band members that the song is no longer called Finally, and get them to call it the real name. But the lyrics themselves, absolutely, we don't have a written rule as to what we can write about. We can write about anything we want. You know, it's whatever takes our fancy. But the one thing that doesn't appeal to me writing lyrics, or Sake, the bass player, he also writes lyrics as well. And neither of us are ever going to write a love song. You know, we're not going to write about boy meets girl, girl was great, or guy was great, and we fell in love and lived happily ever after. It's just not in our brains or our personalities or our bodies to do that. Instead, we take something that means something to us, think about it a lot, and then write it. And what we try to do is to write lyrics that tell a story, but the story isn't necessarily obvious. It's not like a start, a middle, and an end, but they always have a story. They always have a message in it. We've one song out, which we're about to start pushing out to the radio stations at the moment, called Hear Us. And the message behind that story is there's so many people with really, really great ideas out there. They could be globe-changing ideas like Greta Thunberg. They could be to improve the health system of a country, to help homelessness. It could be something really grandiose like that, or it could be something really simple. And you know, you just want to get help picking up the trash in your local area, or whatever it may be. And people are going to politicians or going to people with power trying to get heard, and they're just failing. Their message isn't getting through, even though it might be a good message. And the story is about those people trying to do the right thing, trying to do the good thing, trying to get their message heard, and it's just falling on deaf ears. Well, that's not right. I mean, we'll hear you any day of the week, but it's not being heard by everybody. And then sometimes A Night in Dreams that we launched, which is our first song that we launched about a month ago now, that's a bit of fun. That's a fantasy. That's a deep, dark, demonic story. It's actually taken from 18th century literature. So it's taken from the time of Balzac in French literature, and the depiction of a demon within 19th century literature in France. And Asmodeus, who is the prince of demons, he comes and he just he's a bit cheeky in 19th century French literature. In other centuries, he's a big, terrible demon. But in 19th century French literature, he's a bit cheeky. He wants to corrupt people, you know, go around the place and take them on a bit of a journey. So it's about him taking somebody on a journey, a good man on a journey, and completely corrupting them in one night, showing them all the really cool stuff that the city has to offer. He shows them gambling, he shows them alcohol and lust. And by the end of the song, the guy, he's completely corrupted. He's with the devil. He's at one with the devil. He's gone. So, you know, there's a message behind everyone. Sometimes it's a bit serious, sometimes it's not.
Love it. Love it. So, where would you say you get your influences from, music-wise?
Music-wise, there's lots of bands. Really like Metallica would be a big one. Aerosmith would be a big one. And I just really like harmonies, like multi-layered harmonies. So things like Alice in Chains, like the vocals in that are constantly multi-harmonies. And just very varied kind of influences. Like I get there's even some pop stuff. I remember hearing some like really good vocals on a No Doubt song and stuff like that. That's kind of poppy, but it sounded brilliant. Like, as in, it was really good the way it went through. And like one big thing that I try to incorporate into some of the music is very like the Thin Lizzy sound of the twin guitars. I love that sound where it's just layered harmonies. I love that. And I think without harmonies, music sounds terrible. It's just a single note. like me talking, as opposed to me with a harmony on it, and it sounds much better. Something like that, or you know, a single note instead of a chord playing or something like that. So like influences really come from all over. But some of my early stuff that I would have written would have been very Metallica-esque, I guess, coming from that. But now, yeah, I think it varies a lot, and like I like to watch kind of the making of certain albums, you know, and some bands done that. They used to do that at least, and bring out DVDs and things like that. And I'd always watch them, like religiously go through them and see, oh, how did they do this weird technique where they made this cool sound on the album, or they have this really cool vocal line. How did they come up with that? How did they you know, write that? How did they record that? So usually I would try to get ideas from other bands like that. And like, as I said, like Aerosmith have a few DVDs on that. Metallica have the famous one, The Year and a Half, for the making of the Black Album, things like that. Like, I love watching those DVDs for inspiration. That really helps. I always watch them with a guitar in my hand and I just start playing along, play something, and some ideas tend to come to mind.
Oh, that's wow. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, well, I like a harmony as much as the next guy, but I've never met anybody who likes a harmony as much as Dan likes a harmony. And you know what? He's dead right. That's absolutely right. And so I suppose for me, I would have spent a lot of time listening to the Eagles, which is probably not where you kind of think, okay, let's go get some great rock ideas from a country rock band. But actually their harmonies are amazing. So after meeting Dan, I spent quite a long time listening to the Eagles, who are just harmony kings, and going, okay, how can we bring that? I'd have looked at other kind of bands and some different styles, because stylistically, this band's different to what I would have played in previously. And yeah, I mean, it's broad and wide ranging where I get it from. It could be a lot of classic rock, some 80s stuff. I keep getting told that we sound like a kind of knockoff version of Rush, which is interesting because they wouldn't have necessarily been on my list at all to listen to. But it just comes from all over the place, really. I like classic rock. I mean, I really like classic rock. I like a bit of classic metal, but I like classic rock, and I listen to a lot of classic rock. And I get it from, if I listen to something, there was a song I was listening to, and there was one note, just one note. I really like that. So I just looked into that one note, got it, put it into one of the phrases that Dan had in the song, and when that note really works, rang up Dan on Zoom or whatever we're using and tried to sing it down here, going, do you like that? And he goes, yeah, that's what we're looking for, that's right. And so that note now is pretty much my favorite note in the music that we've written so far. And that's just one song I didn't particularly like, just happened to have one note which I thought sounded good.
Oh, so you mentioned earlier before, you've got a harp, Dan?
I do, yeah.
So do you play any other instruments or have any other random talents?
If there's a few instruments here, like I would never call myself a harpist or anything like that. Like I have a harp and I played around with it a lot, and I actually wrote something. And actually, I've never played it for the band. I wrote something just messing around on it just to see what I could do. Since it's a stringed instrument, at least I have a good chance of being able to play it, you know, as opposed to a brass instrument or something. But for the most part, yeah, I play bass as well. I have loads of guitars. I tend to mess around the piano as well. Once again, I wouldn't call myself a piano player, but like I know music theory, so it helps a lot. But I'm slow and crap. But it's I still try to write some things on it, and then I can try to play it better if I was recording it, for example. Because a lot of the stuff when I'm recording, like for our demos that we record, I would like to kind of layer it with, to make the sound bigger. I might use like horns or strings, or you know, something along the lines that we'll need a keyboard or something to trigger it. So I have to be able to play this to a certain degree. But for other Other instruments, there's a Mongolian cello actually beside me. Yeah, it's an odd one. And then I have an actual cello as well. And then I also have a drum kit in here for, like, I like to mess around on that, but I'm not a drummer. Like, I like to just come up with certain ideas for songs. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Plus, one of the main reasons I got it for here is to have people come over and we can jam here.
And you, Nick, do you have any hidden talents?
Well, hidden talents, many, obviously. Loads of hidden talents, but musically, no. I mean, I sing and I play the guitar, and that's kind of where my musical ability ends. I mean, I tried penny whistle, but I wasn't very good at it. No, other than that, hidden talents, I'm very into wine. But I'm not sure whether drinking a lot of wine and reading a lot about wine and taking wine exams really counts for what we're trying to achieve here.
Hey, a lot of people will call that a talent. A lot of
Yeah,
people
I mean, I practice exceptionally hard.
Right, so what do you guys do if you're not playing music then? Do you have regular jobs?
As a band, to be honest, it's really, really difficult to do things together as a band because of the timing that we got together. I cannot wait for the day where we can all just go and have a day and just go down to the pub and have a few beers and have dinner together. I'm really looking forward to that day. So as a band, we struggle to do things together outside of the times where we've managed to get into the rehearsal room, because that time is so precious at the moment. It's so rare at the minute as well. Absolute interest.
Nick, you keep cracking up. I can't.
Oh, sorry.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that any better?
That keeps cutting out.
Not sure whether I can fix that. Says it's working okay.
Yeah, the sound generally is fine. It's just occasionally it keeps like crackling. Like now.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Maybe if I don't touch it, maybe that's the answer. Don't touch the thing. Then
yeah.
That's
yeah, you're fine now.
Okay, I'll just stop touching it, okay?
And so we'll do that bit again. What did you say? The last couple of sentences, and I'll cut that bit out.
Yeah, so on my own interests are wine, and I love gardening. I love growing things from nothing and growing them into something. I think it's pretty magical. I just find it fascinating to grow a plant from absolutely nothing or create something from this tiny little seed. I'm not very good at it, but I do love doing it.
And you, Dan?
Yeah, for me, like music is a huge thing for me. I tend to do it when I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about doing it. Like I'm coming up with ideas and stuff. I tend to always, like, for a song idea, I'll record something, you know, on my phone. I'll just sing into it or play something in, and then I'll actually build it up when I get to a computer. But when I'm not doing stuff like that, like I really like rock climbing. I'm into that kind of stuff. Also, I was really into like bungee jumping and skydiving for a while. I was getting my skydiving license a while ago. Actually, I think I have it here. This is the biggest bungee jump, a piece of rope from the biggest bungee jump in the world that I done at one point in time a few years ago. So yeah, that kind of stuff, like, I'm really into, and I want to finish my skydiving license. Obviously, I started it in Ireland, and, like, you know, Wales would be similar to Ireland with like shit weather. So as soon as like a bit of wind comes, they're like, oh, we can't fly, so it's a disaster. So I was planning to go actually this summer, before COVID obviously kicked in, to go over to Spain or somewhere where it's pretty like stable weather-wise, and then finish my license that way. So yeah, that's what I like, all that kind of extreme stuff. It's a lot of fun.
It won't be long. It won't be long. You can do that.
I suppose I also have a day job as well when I'm not doing those things, which it gets in the way of an awful lot of stuff, that having to work job.
What's your day job?
I'm a salesman. Sorry?
You've got to tell us now.
I'm a salesman. I sell beauty products and cosmetics and shampoo. Yeah, I know that's really rock and roll, isn't it?
Hey, if it pays the bills, there's no judgment here. Do you have a day job, Dan, or do you just...
No, I do. Yeah, I'm a software engineer. That's my day job.
There we go, see?
Not very exciting or rock and roll either. Not at all. I don't know
Why
how I
do you
landed
think we have a band?
Oh dear. So obviously you started just before lockdown, but how has it affected you in your plans to like become who you want to be?
In every
massively
way.
so, really, I guess. Like, because the whole plan was to kind of hit the ground running. Like, I have a backlog of stuff that I have written, that like the plan was we get vocals and full songs done ASAP, and then start gigging straight away, get presence out there, and it's just a lot of fun to go out there and play. Like that's the thing, at least for me, the thing I love is to play and to write. I really like to write and to play. It's great. It's the recording side of things that isn't the most fun for me. It's just because it's so tedious, and like recording something in the past, I remember spending something like 2 weeks on one guitar track going, oh, it's getting, I nearly have it. And then I was like, oh, I'm happy. And then the next day I'd wake up and go, that's shit, and throw the whole thing out. It was just, so it's, I really like the playing and the writing part. So that's when we started, that was the idea, to go out, write everything. I pretty much have a lot of backlog anyway, and then just start gigging it straight away. And then, the inevitable happened. So we couldn't avoid that.
Yeah, I mean, it slowed us down. It slowed us down so much from where we wanted to be. I mean, luckily, we still have that fire that we want to do it, but the actual ability of getting it and doing it and producing the songs to be able to gig where there's nobody to gig either, it's just slowed the whole process down. And it's not going to stop us. I think that's the key. It's not going to stop us from making the songs, from getting the album, from gigging when it is possible. It just maybe changed the order in which we're going to do it and the pace at which we're going to do it. We're still gonna make the album. We're still gonna gig. We're still gonna get together. We're still gonna have a great time. It's just we're not gonna do it as quickly as we wanted to do it, and we may not be gigging. Realistically, we may not be gigging for quite a long time, which means we have to go down the other avenue of talking to beautiful people like yourself. And also getting,
resort to this as well.
But yeah, I mean, look, there's other things. I mean, we're lucky enough to be in radio stations now, and the feedback and the welcoming and the warmth of brand new bands who literally nobody has ever seen us play live apart from ourselves. The welcoming nature of them has been amazing. I mean, people are really open to new music. People are really open to small bands. And there's this culture out there, this kind of group of people who want the new stuff. They want what's on the edge. They don't want to just necessarily listen to the mainstream music or whatever is on the biggest radio stations. And I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. And also how nice everybody is. Like, you keep hearing all these horror stories about all these terrible people. I've not met anybody who I would say I even remotely dislike. They've all been fantastic, and long may that continue. I'm having great fun going around talking to everybody. It really is an eye opener.
And moving on slightly from that, I'm a huge advocate for mental health and people suffering and stuff. And obviously lockdown has had a huge effect on that. So I'm asking every band, do you have any advice for people in this situation?
Keep yourself busy. 100%. Like you need, like if you don't have hobbies or something like that, get a hobby. You need to have something to keep your mind busy. Otherwise you're just sitting there, dark thoughts might creep in and you're just sitting there doing nothing all day every day. It's a disaster. So 100% get a hobby and do something you really like to do. That would be my best advice, because I always thought that without music I don't know what I'd really do. Like, it's just I love it a lot. I as soon as my normal 9 to 5 job ends, I'm doing music for the rest of the night, usually every day. Like, isn't so? But I like it. It's not a chore. So that's the thing. Get some sort of love for a hobby or anything really. As long as you love to do it, then definitely do that. You need some sort of outlet.
I think it's an admirable cause to help, to be honest, from yourselves. I originally started off in life trying to become a psychologist and failed quite miserably, may I add. But it's an important thing to really focus on. And I would totally echo Dan. I mean, for me, it's not just about having a hobby where you can escape and have a bit of escapism from work. Otherwise, you're just stuck on work, or you're stuck worrying about the bills, or you're stuck about everything. It's a chance to get outside of the norm and think about something different and really think, you know, engage your brain, go that level deeper, ask the questions, do something you've never done before, do something that challenges you, because that's going to keep you moving forward. And don't for a second think that you can't ask for help, because the amount of people out there, if you ask for help in whatever it is, whether it be us as a band, whether it be if you're having trouble in your life, whether it be financial, whether it be whatever, there are people who want to help. And the world is made up primarily of good people. And there's a tiny percentage who are not. Most people that you encounter, that I encounter, that everybody will encounter, they're good people and they will help you.
I love that. I love that advice. It's brilliant. So, one final thing. What are your plans for the future?
World domination.
I'll let you say it, Nick, for our
world domination. It's the only thing on our agenda. I mean, we have it plastered. Just take over the world. Look, obviously we want to get bigger. Obviously we want to play live. Obviously we can't wait to get our EP album produced and get it out there. Get as many people listening to it as we possibly can. We have a fantastic plan. A load of great songs coming up. I mean, there's a lot of music that we're producing just the second we possibly can. And even though we can't do it, we'll still produce it. And I think the real important thing to us is we want to get as many ears listening to us, enjoying it, and let us bring the guitar solo back to the mainstream if we can. You know, let's hear guitar solos, let's hear rock, let's hear bands. I mean, there's plenty of them out there, but they're not necessarily getting heard as much. We want to help. We want to be part of that, bringing back proper bands, proper guitars, proper instruments, really getting ears to listen to real, authentic music.
Love it. I love it.
And world domination as well.
World domination. Well, like, us at Funked in the Head, we want to support like the independent artists, those that don't make it to the mainstream, because I think there's some fabulous bands out there that they don't get noticed. They have like 100 followers on Spotify and stuff, and you're just like, why? So, what do you think is the best way people can support you guys?
Honestly, if you're watching this right now and you're listening to us, and first of all, well done that you've managed to make it, 41 minutes through us rambling on. It's great work, really great work. But stop listening to us talk and just listen to the music. Follow us on Facebook. You'll get the latest updates as to what we're releasing. Follow us on Twitter, although we're constantly bashing out loads of weird stuff on there. And just come talk to us. Talk to us because, you know, we're not a big band. We have time for you. Listen to us on the channels where we play. We'll be releasing more and more. We'll be going into YouTube. We'll be going into Spotify probably start of next year around March time. And just listen to us and enjoy us. And if you don't like us, tell us. You know, we want to hear all the good and the bad. Just let us know. Talk to us. Come engage with us. That's the most important thing. And if you like us, let us know.
Perfect. Anything to add, Dan?
No, I'd pretty much be the same. I'm really, really excited to get more and more people's opinion on what we do, and just more and more people listening to what we do. It's just a lot of fun to perform for people, and I really like writing, as I said, and hearing feedback on what I write and what we all write as a band is great. It's what I live for, really, to be honest. Like it's my passion.
Fabulous. So I am going to say I will grab all your socials and where people can listen to your music and stuff. And I thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for the time, and it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. It's really nice to meet you. And you know what, Thumped in the Head,